Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Invest Grand Bahama Small Business Bureau e-commerce and business insurance webinar. I'm your host, Desiree Joseph, Corporate Communications Assistant here at Grand Bahama Port Authority, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this exciting and informative session. As GBA prepares for the 2021 hurricane season, it's important that our licensees are prepared as well. We have seen firsthand the devastation of loss caused by hurricanes, as well as the global pandemic, and the effects that it can have on businesses of every size. So tonight, we have two experts in their field who will share helpful tips that will assist licensees in preparing for storm and recovering any losses should they encounter as they face this hurricane season. So without further ado, I welcome Mr. Derek Newbold, Senior Business Development Manager, who will bring opening remarks as well as introduce our first speaker. Licensees, I encourage you to please take notes as well as jot down your questions because we will open the floor after each speaker's remarks for a brief discussion. And we will also have extra special prizes to be won. So again, without further ado, Mr. Newbold, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Desiree, and good evening. And welcome to our e-commerce and business insurance webinar, hosted by the Invest Grand Bahama Small Business Bureau of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Our goal this evening is to make business startups easier and empower licensees with essential tools for sustainability, long-term growth, and success. So thank you all for joining us. This evening is about preparation. It's about sharing information and ideas that will improve the way we conduct business and ultimately improve our collective impact on the economy. Now, before Dorian, Grand Bahama was on a path to regaining tourism numbers. The industrial sector was creating jobs. Our construction sector was experiencing an uptick in activity, and our small business sector was experiencing growth on levels that we had not seen in years. Within 72 hours, Dorian changed all of that and more. It was the most catastrophic storm in the history of the Atlantic Basin. And Grand Bahama and Abaco were caught in its crosshairs. A post-Dorian assessment of nearly 2,000 of our licensees revealed that more than 75% of businesses suffered significant damages due to the storm, including flooding, water intrusion, roof and structural damage. More than 65% of businesses impacted had no insurance or insufficient coverage to cover their losses. And 45% of businesses affected were categorized as micro and small businesses, most of them being livelihood family businesses. As we were recovering from Dorian, we later had to confront COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdowns, which made it almost impossible for small businesses to survive. Nonetheless, we are here and we are stronger. We now face the 2021 storm season, and our number one priority is to be as ready as possible. Now, readiness requires systems, protocols, and a forward-thinking mindset. Tonight, you will hear from industry experts regarding crucial focus areas to prepare your business for pre- and post-storm impacts. You will hear information essential to not only building and growing your business, but protecting it in times of crisis and unexpected events. Our first presenter will speak about the power and importance of e-commerce. For many, especially in the micro and small business sector, making the transition to online payments and transactions has been difficult. Well, after tonight, it won't be. Tonight, you will learn about various options that you, as a small business owner, have to transition to an online platform that enables you to conduct business even while you sleep. And one of the things I always tell people, the best position to be in is to be earning revenue while you're actually sleeping. Now, he will share details about cost, how it operates, and the mechanisms to receive payments, etc. If we've learned one thing from the past year, it's that COVID has changed everything about how we interact, communicate, and conduct business. And digital payments are becoming increasingly more common as a result of COVID. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so we must adapt our businesses and adapt quickly. Our second presenter has years of experience in the insurance industry. And she will share with you the fact that business insurance is no longer an option. It's a necessity. You will learn about the different types of insurance and what you need to have in place as a basic plan to support your business's recovery and success during challenging times. You will also learn about affordable options for insurance coverage and essential steps and information necessary when dealing with claims. Now, we've only got an hour, and we wanted to be productive and effective in empowering you as business owners and our licensees. So thank you once again for joining us this evening. As licensees of the Grand Bahama Port Authority and business owners in the Grand Bahama community, we must work together to make our economy stronger, more resilient, and prosperous for our children and for our future generations. And so without further ado, let's get started.
Thank you, Mr. Noble, for those warm, welcoming remarks. Next up, I invite Trevor Simmons, Business Development Officer, who will introduce our first speaker.
All right, thanks, Desiree. Derek did a great introduction, but to go a little bit deeper, our first speaker, Mr. Colvin Nixon, is ideally tasked. He's a 12-year veteran in the finance and banking industry and a native Grand Bahamian. He's a graduate of the then Freeport Anglican High School and the College of the Bahamas, now University of the Bahamas. Mr. Nixon currently serves as a business electronic sales specialist with Royal Caribbean Bank. He's providing key support in merchant services for online payments. He's going to provide tons of information for you guys tonight, so you definitely want to take notes, as Desiree said. Without further ado, I welcome Mr. Colvin Nixon.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much for the intro. As Mr. Newbold said, with hurricane season and COVID, we've seen, especially with COVID, we've seen an increase in the number of merchants who've sought e-commerce solutions. And, with COVID and the onset of it, it was a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people didn't know what to do, how they would operate, with the lockdowns and, social distancing in place, and with the different measures that the government have put in place. And a number of merchants we saw, and we've seen quite an uptick in the number of merchants who've signed up for e-commerce solutions because, like I said, with all the social distancing factors in place, you couldn't see people, or you can't entertain customers in a restaurant, or you could only offer curbside service. So a number of merchants saw fit to go the e-commerce route. And as Mr. Newbold said, with e-commerce, you make money while you sleep. And you also provide access and convenience to your customers as well, too. So for about, let's say 10 minutes, I'll touch briefly on what e-commerce is, the advantages of it, and the products that RBC has to offer for e-commerce for our merchants. Share my screen. All right, so for those of you who don't know, e-commerce is a payment gateway which provides the interface between your website, the credit card processor, and your bank. When a customer makes a purchase on your website using their credit card, payment gateway, after authorization, settles the amount directly to your RBC bank account. And like I said, why consider e-commerce? The internet allows merchants to offer their products and services internationally, where previous marketing and distribution channels were cost prohibitive. Online merchants are available for business 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, but without the associated overhead costs. There's a potential reduction in administrative costs associated with brick and mortar businesses, as some in-store traffic is moved to the virtual highway. Increased convenience for your customers who do not have the time or ability to come into a physical store, and all the above can positively affect the bottom line. And like I said, especially with COVID-19 and everything that's been going on, we've seen a lot of merchants transition to online platforms. We have seen a number of them use it to their advantage, and they were able to stay afloat because of it. They were able to keep staff employed, staff whose jobs were previously kind of face-to-face. Some of them now transitioned more to background roles. They were more, instead of them being face-to-face with clients, they were more, in a support role of stocking maybe shelves or fulfilling orders, or in some instances where delivery was allowed, they would have taken online orders and now and then be able to fulfill them via delivery. So e-commerce has definitely proven to taken off. It's definitely proven to be beneficial, and it's allowed people, to keep their businesses going, keep everything afloat, and you don't have to worry about, potential losses. The requirements to open an e-commerce account with Royal Bank, you need a Royal Bank business account. That's the first step. Once the business account is open, you then speak to a business electronic sales specialist like myself, and we can discuss the RBC merchant account, which you would need to, and you then fill the forms out for that. And the website, which you would have, we can then supply you with the checklist so that your web developer or whoever it is that you have maintaining your site, they can make sure that the website itself meets Royal Bank standards. These are just some of the specifications that would be required. You would need an SSLA secure 128-bit encryption, secure site certificate verified. You would need a return, refund, and cancellation policy. There are certain delivery standards in place, basic contact information, display of all the card association logos, and a privacy statement advising customers of the information that's collected from them and how it would be used. And the virtual terminal that you are supplied with each gateway account enables you to securely process your credit card payments from any computer with internet access without requiring a traditional terminal or other equipment. Now, it didn't show up on here, but these are the three options that we have. So they are Figaro, Plug and Pay, and First Atlantic Commerce. And the arrow should have represented the flow of traffic from card acceptance into your Royal Bank account, card acceptance into authorization into your Royal Bank account. There we go. So you go from merchant account to RBC, to your website, to the payment gateway, and into the various, and using the various platforms that we have, using one of the various platforms that we have. And web commerce allows merchants to accept online payments from customers using the most popular credit cards. So by default, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express can be accepted through all of our platforms. For Plug and Pay, this is basic pricing. For the basic package, which most people get, there's no annual fee. There is a one-time setup fee of $500, and there's a $50 a month service charge. You are allotted 142 transactions for each month. Once you reach transaction number 143, you are charged an additional 7 cents per transaction. And as you can see, for the membership management and digital download, for those requiring a little bit more, the setup fee is $1,000. The monthly fee still remains $50. and you're allotted $100, sorry, 100 transactions per month and 15 cents per transaction. This will be for those who are recurring and subscription billing. For Figaro, to the left, you see Figaro invoicing feature. Now, Figaro is our newest product. Figaro, I call it e-commerce without the website because a number of users have been using it for billing clients and invoicing clients, such as this invoicing feature over here. Because what we found is for a lot of people, they didn't have a website. They needed to be able to take payments online, or they said, but we need to take payments over the phone. Now, we strongly discourage cardholders, merchants to take payments over the phone where possible because of the high risk nature of the transactions. So a lot of them signed up for Figaro. And what they were able to do is you were actually able to invoice a customer. So basically, for the invoicing option only, you're able to send out an invoice. The invoice has a payment link attached to it. The payment link is then sent, you can then send that to the customer via WhatsApp or email or through social media as well too, with Facebook Messenger also. And the payment link allows the customer to pay for the goods for themselves on their end. Once payment is made, you are then notified that that person has paid. So now you can then proceed with fulfilling a service for them. And the pricing for it, for the entrepreneur, is just for one user, that's $9.99 per month, sorry. For the ideal of 3 users, it's $14.99 per month. And the 10 user package or corporate is $39.99 per month. You receive unlimited invoices. You can present to unlimited clients, and you can use unlimited providers and products as well too. For Figaro Plus, for those who want to use the website feature in that you have the gateway integration, you can have, sorry, not Figaro Plus, Figaro Shops. But for Figaro Plus, for those who need invoicing plus online payments as well too, that works the same way, where you can send out invoices via social media or via email, along with being able to integrate it into a site. So for instance, you may be a merchant, you have a site. What you can do is, if you may not have the time, or you may not be able to at that particular time to to upgrade your site to, let's say, fully customized to where you can just accept payments directly to the site itself. What you can do is actually redirect customers to your Figaro account. So we have, for instance, I have a merchant, what they did was they just placed the payment link on the site so that their customers are redirected to Figaro, to their Figaro account, sorry. They then enter their information, and that once they submit payment, they are still notified that the customer made payment for them. So for the entrepreneur, the price, or one user, it's $14.99 per month. For the ideal, or 3 users, it's $19.99 per month. For the corporate, or 10 users, it's $49.99 per month. And each plan contains unlimited invoices, unlimited clients you can send to, unlimited providers and products, and there's a logistics model and DHL integration as well too. For the Figaro Shop add-on, that's if you just have the website and you just want customers just to go to stay on your site, they're not redirected to the Figaro site through a payment link. They just stay on your site, and there's the entire shopping cart process. The Figaro Shop add-on is an additional $30 a month to these products on the Figaro Plus. So it'd be $44.99 per month, $49.99 per month, or $79.99 per month. And no matter which product you get under Figaro, there's a one-time fee of $60 for the gateway gateway activation. Sorry. Now, I was unable to attach the slide for First Atlantic Commerce. That's more for larger merchants. First Atlantic Commerce and Figaro are a sister company as well too. First Atlantic Commerce, the setup fee is $250. It's a one-time fee. There's a minimum monthly charge of $180 per month. And you are tiered billed based upon the number of transactions that you do. Should you have any further questions, you feel free to contact me via email at colvin.nixon@rbc.com or 502-7734 or 357-5622. And thus ends the presentation.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nixon. Participants as well as attendees, please feel free if you have any questions, please let us know if there's anything that you need him to elaborate on. This is the time. Please, you can type it in the chat on the Q&A section. Mr. Nixon, there was one that we got. Could you just go over, name 2 of the requirements to open up RBC e-commerce account, please? Could you just go over that again for us?
Sorry, I was muted. They would have to open a business account first. So based upon the kind of business that they have, I'm not familiar with the account opening process. I'm not an expert in that, but I can say if it's, I imagine that most people would be, with their licenses, they'd be, what's the word? Sole owner. So if they're sole owner, they can provide a business license along with either their passport. If they don't have a passport, they can use a business license along with a driver's license and an NIP card. So they would have to open a business account first. While they're waiting on the account to be opened, they can sit down and have a conversation with myself regarding the type of product that they may want to use. So if it's plug and pay, Figaro, First Atlantic, Ecommerce, whatever they feel may be best for their business, we can sit down and discuss it.
Okay, and we have another question. How long does it take to open up a business account at RBC?
Well, due to an increase in the number of accounts, we've actually had to go to an appointment system. But in terms of getting the account open, once everything is in order, typically accounts open within, say, 3 to 5 business days.
Okay, so 1 second, another one just came. Give me a minute, let me get to it. Is Royal Bank the only bank that offer these type of services?
I can't speak for the others. I only can speak for us. This is what we offer in terms of e-commerce.
Okay, so I will now also open the floor. We do have some prizes, and the first person to answer this question will win our first prize for this evening. So please listen carefully. Name 3 of the payment platforms that work with RBC. The first person to type in those answers in the Q&A will win our first prize of the evening. Again, the question is, name 3 of the payment platforms that work with RBC. Please feel free to type it into the chat, and the first person will win. We'll give you guys a few minutes. Okay, and we have a winner already. You guys are listening. That's awesome. 1 second while we confirm the name. So I do not want to mispronounce your first name. So Miss Kemp Russell. The first name is an A. Miss Kemp Russell. Antigua, I want to say, but please, I do apologize if I pronounce that incorrectly. You are our winner. Thank you so much. And so I will just repeat the question as well as the answer that we received. Name 3 of the payment platforms that work with RBC, and those answers were Plug and Play, Figaro, and Atlantic Commerce. Again, congratulations, Miss Antigua. We will message you at the end for you to be able to claim that prize. So again, Mr. Nixon, thank you so much. That was very educational. And so as mentioned, guys, as we go throughout this webinar, we do ask you to jot down your questions and as well as to continue to listen because we do have more prizes. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Trevor Simmons again, who will introduce our second speaker for this evening. Mr. Simmons?
Thanks, Desiree. All right, so Mrs. Patrice Forbes has more than 17 years experience in the business of insurance, 9 in life and health, and 8 in property and business. She's the branch manager for the Kalina General Freeport location. She's a wife, mother, and grandmother who believes that your family is your greatest investment and that you should guard and protect with everything within you. Additionally, whatever the Lord blesses you with, endeavor to use wisdom to maintain and grow to be a blessing to someone else. She lives by the old adage, each one teach one, and you are your brother's keeper. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mrs. Patrice Forbes.
Well, good evening to everyone. I hope that everyone had an excellent day. So I am here to speak to you guys about insurance. And seeing that we have just embarked upon the hurricane season, I feel that this particular topic is fitting, and I hope to give you as much information as possible and possibly to dispel some of the false information that is out there that surrounds insurance, and also some of the negative responses and views as well. So Kalina General. Kalina actually is a group of company. We're known as AF Holding. Inclusive in this company, we have life, health, general, investments, and also we deal with securities as well. Kalina General, or Kalina, I should say, is a company that is 100% Bahamian owned. And we are actually a broker. So we sell for 7 different carriers. That gives us an edge whereby because we're a broker, we're able to gain the best rate for your risk and ensure that you are receiving a premium that will be pretty much suitable and affordable to actually do what you need done. In addition to that, we carry various lines of insurance. We deal with motor, we deal with home, we deal with liabilities, we deal with marine, we deal with money. So we just cover a large range of insurances, pretty much that is best suited and tailored depending upon what it is that your business offer as a service. In addition to that, all of our insurers, according to AM Best, which is an insurance marker that grade insurance companies, all of my insurers are very solvent, so they are A- and above, which means that should you have a claim, they are more than able to pay your claim out without having any issues. Now, because we are in the hurricane season, like I said, I'm going to bring to your attention a few of the hiccups that we tend to have with claims, and to help give you a better understanding as to what they mean, the terminologies. I'm sure that you've heard a few of them, but I'll bring more clarity as to what they mean and how they actually work in the insurance industry. The first out I would like to say is that persons normally say that I cannot afford insurance. But I think that what you should be saying is, I really cannot afford not to have insurance, because insurance pretty much is a transference of a risk to someone else for a small premium. What do I mean? Your risk may be valued at $100,000. If you do not have $100,000 sitting on account in the event that you do have an incident, then you need to pay a small premium and transfer that risk of $100,000 to someone else. That is what the purpose of insurance is. The purpose of insurance is to indemnify you, which means to put you back in the same position that you were in prior to an incident. So that is the whole purpose of why it is best for you to have insurance, because if not, you would have to have that capital sitting on account to ensure that your business is not interrupted and the continuity can continue. So that is the whole purpose of insurance. So I just want to say that. So let's look at the first thing I think I want to start out with is something that is called underinsurance. I know everyone has heard of the word underinsurance and what underinsurance actually means. In insurance industry, you would find out that if you are able to obtain an appraisal, there is always two terminologies or two class of value that is outlined in your appraisal. The first one is called a market value, and the second one is called replacement value. We in the insurance industry, we deal with replacement value and not market value, because market value is pretty much predicated on how the market is performing at the time. So if the market is good, you can receive a better price for your property. And on the flip side, if the market is soft, like it is now, you will not be able to sell your property for its true value at that time. However, if that particular property was to be destroyed, the replacement costs do not change whether it's market or not, whether the market is profitable or robust, or if it is soft. So you would always want to go with replacement cost, and the replacement cost will be based upon what the cost is to reconstruct at that time. So what has happened is we've had a lot of consumers have underinsured their properties because they, one, probably did not obtain a recent appraisal that would speak to what the value of your property is at the time of a loss. And with that said, I should plug in, you should actually have your property reevaluated every 2 to 3 years to ensure that there is no change in the value of your property. In addition to that, if you were to do any extensions or upgrades to your property, your value have increased, and you need to make sure that that is noted when you go to your insurer. All of these things have to be factored in. If you add an additional piece, value has gone up. If you crown mold in your house, value has gone up. If you take out your regular windows and you put in hurricane impact windows, doors, your value have increased, and you need to make sure that that conversation is had with your insurer to ensure that your value of your building now reflects the value inclusive of your upgrades. All right, so what we're talking about now is, like I said, replacement, how it works on the insurance. So for a perfect example, if your building is valued at $200,000, that is your replacement cost, and you come in and you ask that your building be insured for $100,000, you, in an essence, what you have actually done is you've only insured your building for 50% of the value. And let's just say you have a claim for $50,000. The same percentage by which you underinsure your building by will have a direct impact on your claim. So your building now valued at 200, but you insure for 100 and have a claim at 50,000, you have actually only insured your building for 50% of its value. So if you have a claim, the insurer is only going to pay out 50% of the value of that claim because they're all interlocking. I'm hoping that persons are now understanding how it works and why you've heard that word underinsurance has gone out in magnitude post-Dorian, but that is pretty much how it works. So right now, I would advise everyone that you do an assessment, a recent assessment on your property to ensure that you will not be in the position that you were in post-Dorian if you were, and to ensure that any adjuster that comes on the island and do an assessment on your property is now governed by your recent appraisal. So the second thing I want to address now is deductible. Deductibles is a percentage that is borne by you, the consumer, should you have an incident. Policies now have various deductible. So the higher your deductible is, the less premium it would be at the time that you are paying your premium. However, at the time of loss, your deductible payout or the amount that you would have to bear is higher. So what am I saying? If you have a property that is valued $100,000 and your deductible is 2%, 2,000 of that is the deductible that will be borne by you, and then the balance of your claim will be paid out. With that same value of 100,000, if you have a 5% deductible, your deductible then becomes $5,000 that is borne by you and is paid out to the, and the difference is paid out, the claim is paid out to you. So that is another thing that you want to also pay attention to, is your deductible. All right, and know what your deductible is. So if you have a claim, you know exactly what the amount is going to be required of you, that be deducted from your claim. How to handle a claim. Now, because you guys have small businesses, one thing that I have noticed that a lot of the persons that I deal with do not keep regular inventory. You must ensure, if you are in a retail business, that you do regular inventory so that you know exactly where you at the time of a loss. Because not because you bound a policy with $50,000 in stock mean that at the time of a storm, you had $50,000 worth of merchandise in your shop. So your inventory actually is what the adjuster would use to factor in and to determine what was the amount of merchandise that you had at the time of loss. And if you have an inventory, that takes away a lot of the guessing and it makes the claim process a lot smoother. So make sure that you keep regular inventory. If there is a pending storm, do an inventory prior to the arrival of the storm so that you know exactly what is the value of your merchandise in your store. Secondly, take photos prior to the storm's arrival. Okay, you must document. All of these things will help in your claim process. Take photos, do an inventory, so that when the adjuster comes out, these are things that you can present. It avoids the back end. This is called being proactive. It avoids the responsiveness whereby you and the adjuster now have to kind of predetermine exactly what was there, what was damaged, what wasn't there. It takes away all of the guessing, and it makes everything very clean and clear and precise. All right, so you want to do that. You want to remember average. You want to remember your deductible. You want to know that you need to take photos. You need to document. You need to have your inventory. All of these things will help you when you have a claim to ensure that your claim process is as clean and as seamless as possible. The insurance company is here to assist you, but in addition to that, you must assist yourself and ensure that all of your ducks are in line, and that way it can be a lot less headache at the time of a loss. Now, depending upon what type of service that you offer, we do a variety of insurance coverage. We do, as far as business is concerned, we do business interruption, which means if there is a storm and you're down and you cannot operate, then there is a certain amount that you buy your policy for. The insurer will pay you to keep your business afloat in the interim of everything being stabilized again. We have liability coverages, public liability. If you offer a business to the public, you need to have public liability. Persons are becoming very insurance savvy now, and they know that if they come on your premise and if they are injured for any reason, simple as water being on the floor and they slip and they fall, the tile isn't properly affixed, they trip and they fall, they can sue you. And that is where your your public liability comes in. It protects you against third-party persons coming into your space of operation. So you want to always have that as well. You want to have your merchandise covered, because you don't need to have lost all of your investments, especially if you're still paying out a loan. You don't need to lose all of your investment and do not have capital sitting ready to supplement your business. That is what insurance will do. Insurance will help you to jumpstart yourself so that you can resume business quicker. So you want to look at it at securing your inventory. You want to look at securing your equipment if you use it. We also offer bond products. Now, our bond products are not sold independently. Bonds for us are sold as accessory pieces to a business policy, meaning that you either have to have your merchandise, you either have to have your stock or your building or your equipment as a base policy, and then the bond can be added as an accessory piece to that policy. All right, so pretty much other than that, we also do marine coverage as well, whether it's commercial or private. We also do motor, we do home. We pretty much factor in every type of cover that you need for your business, money as well, money in transit, money on the property, money after hours. We cover all of those. So pretty much that is it in a nutshell that I can tell you about insurance, giving you some little tips now that we're going into the hurricane season, what you need to do, how you need to be positioned, and what you need to implement to ensure that your claim process is as seamless as possible. Also a footnote, the onus is on you as an insured to ensure that you notify your insurer as quick as possible should you have a loss. And secondly, the onus is on you to mitigate that loss or to prevent that loss from being larger than it needs to be as well. So that is pretty much what I would like to say about insurance, but I am now open for questions because I know there are quite a bit.
Yes, Mrs. Forbes. But before we do get to the questions, can you just reiterate, or I don't know, maybe I missed it, but your contact information as well, so people know where they can reach you?
Okay, Kalina General, 351-9300, and also 351-9339. My email address is pforbes, that's PFORBES, at Kalina General, COLINAGENERAL.com.
Thank you. And our first question, the floor is officially open, so please feel free to type any questions you have in the comment section. This question, how much does it cost to add the bond to a policy?
Okay, bonds are sold in increments of $5,000. So standardly, a $5,000 bond is $576.80 and is sold in increments thereafter, whereby the premium multiplies. However, if you require a bond in the value of $40,000 or more, then we would have to seek the insurer's premium on that. And we do various bonds depending upon what your function is. We do CB8, we do CB9, we do CB.9, we do CB13, we do CB6, CB1.
Okay, another question. They just would like for you to reiterate, how often should you have your property reevaluated? I know that's super important for our participants to know, as well as our attendees.
Yes. Okay, so it's recommended every 2 to 3 years. If you have not had your property evaluated this year, my suggestion strongly is to go ahead and have it done, because plywood now has almost double in value. So that means if your home is to be reconstructed now, it's going to be much more than it was when you bound your policy about 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow.
So you would want to go ahead and speak to an adjuster and just find out what the cost is per square foot. You can almost kind of estimate it yourself, right? If you know the square footage of your home, and you can find out from a contractor, this is just giving you a little indication, right? But of course, it's always best to have it formally done, but just so you can have an indication if you're kind of still there, is you would find out what the cost of construction is. Now, the cost of construction right now varies between 105 and 120 per square foot for residential. So you would then multiply that by your square footage, and that would give you a slight indication as to where you kind of need to be.
Okay. Guys, please do not be shy. This is the time while we have the experts here on the call. Any question at all? We have another question. How long does the process of getting insurance usually take?
All right, it depends on what it is that you're doing, and it depends on you having the necessary requirements as quickly as possible. So the turnaround time can vary from a couple of hours to a couple of days.
Okay, good to know. Another question, please clarify, does Kalina assist with bond coverage that is required by Bahamas Customs?
Yes, we do. All of our bonds are Bahamas Customs bond. And like I say, the bonds that we do, they're all predicated on the functioning of your business. Because like I said, we do about 8 or 10 bonds. So you as a business person would not need all 10 of the bonds. But depending upon the service that you provide, Customs would then inform you as to which type of bonds you need to possess that is necessary for your business function.
Okay, I know we are getting into it now. So briefly, if you're able to, can you please explain what those bonds mean? You mentioned the CB8, the CB9, those type of things.
Well, a CB8 is a broker's bond. A CB9 is a CB.9 is an over-the-counter bond. Normally, that's the one that the Grand Bahama Port Authority give authorization for your licensees to have. That allows you to do over-the-counter purchases, bonded, and also import goods bonded. The CB1 bond is a perishable bond. The CB13 bond is a broker's bond. The CB9 bond is a bond that is used if you're importing stuff by air and by sea. Then there is the CB 9.9813. One, yeah, those are the most sought after bonds right there.
Okay, I hope you are taking notes. This is some detailed information. Another question, is there a basic insurance coverage or package that businesses can get for content insurance?
Yes, we do offer what we call a business option. A business option policy can be inclusive of coverage on your stock, coverage on your building, public liability, employer's liability. All of those can be coupled together under one policy. So you would not have to effect 5 or 6 different policies, but everything is blended into one policy, which makes it a lot easier for you.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Cooper asks, who does a business evaluation to determine the value of your business? Who does it? I guess, how does that process take place?
Okay, when he say the value of his business, is he referring to, I'm not sure what he's referring to. Is he referring to his merchandise? Is he referring to his stock? Is he referring to his building? It's just a little bit vague for me. If he can kind of narrow it down so that I can have a better understanding of the question.
Okay, so Mr. Cooper, equipment stock.
Okay, all right, great. All right, so how do you assess the value of your stock is based on your price. It's based on what you paid for it. That's pretty much how it is. Now, the insurer do not pay for betterment. I should note that. They're pretty much paid for the value of the merchant that you pay, the value of the merchandise that you pay. Some insurers, though, do pay for the value of the merchandise at the time of loss. Others maintain the value throughout the length of the policy.
Okay, and what is the starting price for the bond?
Sorry?
What is the starting price for a bond?
Okay, well, the basic bond starts at $5,000. And the premium for that is $576.80, VAT inclusive.
All right. Thank you, guys. Please continue to send your questions. We are still have the floor open for discussion. I will also prepare for our question for our prize. So if you do not have any question, but you do have the answer, please listen carefully.
Desiree, I have a question.
Okay, hi.
Okay. All right. Hi. Hi, Ms. Forbes. Excellent presentation. Very informative. My question is, I know that you offer several types of insurances to businesses. Can they get those unbundled, or does it have to be a bundled package? When you talk about liability insurance, business interruption insurance, contents insurance, does it have to be
No.
bundled or unbundled?
Either way. We sell them individually and we also sell them bundled. So it all depends on what is best suited for you.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
That was a good. That was a great question, Mr. Noble.
Yes.
So the question for our raffle, ladies and gentlemen, is how many insurance companies does Kalina broker with? So if you are I'm seeing that people were paying attention. That is fantastic. Those answers came shooting in. So I have a winner on my screen. Let me just confirm. And yes, Miss Alex, you are our winner of our second prize this evening. Congratulations. And again, if there are any more questions, please feel free. We're gonna leave it open for a bit more. But once again, thank you so much, Ms. Forbes, for insightful and detailed tips to remember, especially as we continue on in this 2021 hurricane season.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
You froze for a moment, Desiree.
Oh, I apologize. Am I good now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So anything else you want to add or say before we do close it out? And there any more questions you want to drop it in our last few minutes? All right, and also guys, please do not log off as yet. We do have a survey that we would like for you guys to participate. It's a brief survey that is being loaded up and it will pop up on your screen. And it is already there, so please just take a few moments and just answer this quick survey for us and click submit once you're done.
Desiree.
Yeah.
Okay, there is just one little tip that I want to leave with you.
Okay. That's no problem. The floor is yours.
There is I want to dispel the fact that a lot of persons believe that insurance is expensive, but insurance is not as expensive as you would want to think. And my suggestion would be to do an assessment of your business and then just seek premiums, because most insurers right now will finance your premium to help you out with ensuring that your business is properly covered. How it normally works, because I know one of the questions is, if I'm financing a policy and let's just say an insurance, a storm hit, would the policy still be honored? The answer to that question is yes. If you are engaged in a payment plan and there is a loss, the insurer would still honor your coverage as if you had paid your premium in full. The only thing that will be done is at the time of the loss, whatever balance is outstanding in premiums will be deducted from your claim. So that is a nice little nugget that I want to plug in just to encourage you to go out and seek to insure your business, because it is you and you are it.
Okay, thank you. So we do have another question. Is it possible for Kalina to offer a blanket or group rate for business insurance coverage for health or even for building/contents?
All right. As far as health is concerned, they do offer a blanket cover. They offer that to companies, and that can actually be done. When you say to buildings will be a little different, because when it comes to general insurance, we are insuring risk per location. So unfortunately, we can't do like a blanket policy. However, what we can do then is that if you do have if you have multiple properties, we can then offer you better premium because of the size of your portfolio. But each building would have to pretty much stand by itself. And the benefit of that is this: if it is blanketed, that means that your deductible would also be blanketed. And that can be very expensive on the back end, because let's just say you have one building that is damaged, but you have 10 buildings blanket, and each building carries a $5,000 deductible. You're talking about 5,000, 10 buildings, and you just have one building that is damaged.
So there is a part 2 to that question.
Yeah, that's a $50,000 deductible. But if the building stands independently and one building is damaged, then the deductible would only be applicable to that one and not to the blanket. Okay. I hope I made that kind of clear.
And she wanted to make it, wanted to clarify that she's referring to the health coverage for multiple businesses.
Yes. Health coverage, yes, they do offer health coverages as a group.
Okay, and would they reach out to you in regards to that as well?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, just drop your contact information again. Just this is your chance to write it down. You have it already.
My email address is PFORBES@COLINAGENERAL.com. So that's pforbes@kalinageneral.com.
Okay, and I noticed we do have some people who are unable to answer the entire survey. Please do not worry. We will also send the survey to all of you tomorrow. Your email addresses that you would have used to register for this webinar, we will have that survey sent to you. We do apologize for the inconvenience for those who may be experiencing any technical difficulties. Is there any other questions for Ms. Forbes before we're able to close up this amazing webinar? Thank you guys so much for letting us know. And again, please know that the survey will be sent to your email, because we do appreciate that feedback, and we would love to hear from you, letting us know about tonight. So Ms. Forbes, again, thank you so much. And I will go ahead once again on behalf of the Grand Mama Port Authority, which is into the Invest Grand Mama Small Business Bureau e-commerce and business insurance webinar. Tonight has been very informative, very insightful, and we hope that you all are leaving feeling encouraged and prepared to conquer anything that may come our way. We're praying that nothing does, but
Please.
this yes, Ms. Forbes, we're praying that nothing does, and we'll be covered in all aspects. And for more information, please feel free to reach out to us. Call us at 350-9000. And also be sure to stay tuned to our Facebook page for updates. Mr. Newbold, Mr. Simmons, if there's anything else you want to add before we officially close this webinar, please feel free to give your last remarks, if any.
Yeah, I just want to thank our guest speakers tonight, Mr. Colvin Nixon, Mrs. Patrice Forbes, for providing that valuable information again.
Yeah.
I want to encourage everyone on this call to take advantage of the information that they provided, and definitely share it with other business owners, with your colleagues and entrepreneurs who may have not been here tonight, but would definitely use this information. And again, stay tuned to all of our social media channels and our pages for updates, because this is the first of many to come in terms of our workshop series. Obviously, with COVID, we've had to adjust what we normally do in terms of our in-person workshops that we provide year in, year out. So this will be the first of many more to come in terms of our virtual workshop series. So again, thank you all for coming out this evening. Mr. Newbold, Mrs. Daniels, I'm not sure if you guys wanted to add anything before we head out.
Thank you, Trevor. Again, thanks to Mrs. Forbes. Excellent presentation. Thank you, Colvin. Excellent presentations. Really appreciate the information that you guys shared. I'm sure that everyone tuned in found it valuable. And I want to just leave this question with everyone. Sometimes we ask ourselves this question: can we afford insurance as business owners? The question is, can you afford not to have insurance? Insurance is an investment. And so you need to start looking at it from a different perspective. Insurance should be included in your cost every year, in your operating cost.
Absolutely.
Okay? My parting words. Thank you guys so much again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Newbold. Ms. Forbes, I'm sorry, please continue.
No, I said words of wisdom. It should form a part of your business plan. It should.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Good night. And as mentioned, please look out for that survey tomorrow. Will be sent to your email addresses. Good night, everyone.
Okay, good night.